what is recognition? There's a similar term that is used by other twins, twin flame channels, and they call it soul recognition. I prefer just recognition because, as you know, on this channel, I don't quite use the terminology of soul. I see it in a bit of a different lens. I don't believe in the soul in the way that more mainstream spiritualities or dualistic systems kind of describe it as. But beyond terminology, I really still like the term recognition. And for me, everyone goes through recognition. And recognition is just the moment when you get a glimpse of absolute reality. And remember, absolute reality is pure infinite love bliss. Absolute reality is God consciousness. It is unity consciousness. And so recognition is when in the external dream of reality that we call reality, when we recognize or glimpse, even unconsciously without being able to put it into words, this God consciousness in some way, in some form, it starts, well, a spiritual awakening, but recognition is to remember who you truly are, which is absolute reality. You are absolute reality. You are pure consciousness. You are pure awareness. You are pure infinite love bliss. Utter happiness, utter wholeness. Happiness without a tinge of sorrow, and that is source. And so twin flames are all about that. It is when you could have been, and it varies, the way it happens, it varies, of course. So for some twin flames, they don't get recognition until a bit later. Maybe they've been friends for a few years and then recognition happens. Maybe it's the first time they see each other, maybe it's 2 months after. It doesn't really work on a timetable, that depends on the individual, but recognition is the moment the twin flame journey starts. Because when recognition happens, the push or seeker twin, the spiritual twin, this Shiva pulse, recognizes God within the other twin. They are shell-shocked. And this is basically when the yearning for the divine happens, but it happens misaligned at first because you're seeking the God consciousness within the other person. And another kind of example that I like to use with people is, imagine that absolute reality, pure infinite love bliss, that ultimate state of happiness with no sorrow, that state of non-duality. It's the sun. That's the source. And your twin flame is like a droplet of water that you see. And that droplet of water, you look at the droplet of water and you see light, right? You see light reflecting onto in the droplet of water. And so recognition is that. That's as easy an analogy as I can put it. That's what recognition is. You recognize or you see God or absolute reality within this person, and all of a sudden the energies go crazy because now you want the person because you just had recognition. But the whole journey is about realizing, oh, the droplet is reflecting the sun. I am the sun. I don't need to seek the sun in the droplet. I am the sun. And ironically, when you get into that state, that's when the droplet is yours. So, the pushing and pulling, the other twin acting like an asshole, the other twin, breaking your heart or acting stupid. This happens when the energy becomes imbalanced, essentially, right? So, the moment recognition happens is a beautiful moment, but then it's also, unfortunately, the moment when the triggering happens, when the push-pull happens. I don't like using runner or chaser. It's not as short and sweet as that. It's really push-pull, right? Because you two can be chatting or in close proximity, but the energy is that you're pushing onto them and they're pulling away somehow. They're not acknowledging the love, they're denying love, but the love is there. The love is there. Don't worry about that. They love you the same way that you do to them. But here's the thing, and here's the key. The whole point of recognition is, and you need to understand this, is that the the droplet, that is your twin flame, that is the person, is just reflecting yourself. It is reflecting the sun. Look, and when you think about it, the droplet that has a glimmer of light is so small compared to the ultimate light of the sun, of the strength and power of the sun. And that's the same thing as absolute reality. All the love, all the joy, all the bliss that you're feeling from your twin, and that's real, it's real, don't get me wrong. It's valid. But what you're experiencing is glimmers of the absolute reality of your true state. And guess what happens when you're able to become the sun, when you realize, hey, I'm absolute reality, I am ultimate bliss, I am pure infinite love, and you become the source of that happiness. And that's a process, of course. It's not as I mean, if you're lucky, maybe it's not usually as easy as, you just decide that, right? It's a process. It's a process of balancing the energy and aligning to that. But when you do align to that, and you have the droplet, you have the twin, right? And that's probably the best deal that you can get, is that this person started the recognition, the pain, forced all your karma, all your samskara out, forced you to purge all that old shit that wasn't you, to remember who you truly are, to get you started on your journey back to unveiling your true nature as absolute reality. And the sweet part of it is, that's the best part, is being pure infinite love bliss. And you get a little bit of a sweetener to that deal. You get the twin too. Once you're in that state, that's the fun part, right? That's the fun part. And it's never stressful again. It's very easy. It's very zen. Yeah, man, it's like, I feel like romantic relationships are awful, but if you're a twin flame and you've gone through all that bullshit, you do get your Disney ending, right? You're just not going to be very excited, or you're not going to be very, high, or, oh my god, this is so beautiful. You're not going to be like that. You're going to be very chill. You're going to be very detached, neutral to the physical form. And don't overthink detached. It's just you're going to feel very neutral to them, okay? That's the best way you can have it. So you're going to be radiating love. You're going to be, yeah, it's going to be something else. Trust me, it's going to be okay.